Picture this. It's the dawn of the 20th century, and two empires are on a collision course. On one side, the colossal Russian Empire, stretching across continents, hungry for more. On the other, the rising sun of Japan, a nation that had transformed itself from a feudal society into a modern powerhouse in just a few decades. The stage for their conflict, Northeast Asia, specifically Korea and Manchuria. This is the story of how imperial ambition, arrogance, and a clash of cultures led to the Russo-Japanese War, a conflict that would change the world forever. So why were these two nations so fixated on Korea and Manchuria? For Russia, the answer was simple: a warm water port. Their main Pacific port, Vladivostok, froze over for months each year, crippling their naval and commercial ambitions. Control over Manchuria, and especially a port like Port Arthur on the Liaodong Peninsula, would give them year-round access to the Pacific Ocean. It was the key to projecting Russian power across Asia. They methodically extended their influence, building railways like the Chinese Eastern Railway, not just as transport links, but as tools of imperial expansion, pushing deeper and deeper into Chinese territory. From the Russian perspective, Japan was a minor player, an upstart nation that should know its place. They saw Japan much like other Asian countries that had bowed to European dominance. Russian officials, including the Tsar himself, were convinced that Japan wouldn't dare challenge the might of the Russian bear. They believed their military superiority was a given, and that diplomacy was just a formality. This confidence, bordering on arrogance, was a critical miscalculation. They completely underestimated the new Japan that had emerged from the Meiji Restoration. What was the Meiji Restoration? It was one of the most remarkable national transformations in history. Starting in 1868, Japan embarked on a radical program of modernization. They sent scholars to the West to study everything: military tactics from Germany, naval strategy from Britain, and industrial and political systems from America and Europe. They built a modern professional army and a formidable navy. They industrialized at a breathtaking pace. Japan wasn't just adopting Western technology, it was adopting the Western model of imperialism to secure its own survival and create its own sphere of influence. For Japan, Korea was not just a neighbor. It was, in their words, a dagger pointed at the heart of Japan. They could not allow it to fall under the control of a rival power like Russia. Japan knew it couldn't match Russia's sheer size, so it tried diplomacy first. Repeatedly, Tokyo proposed a deal. Russia could have its sphere of influence in Manchuria if it recognized Japan's dominance in Korea. It was a classic imperial bargain. Let's divide the spoils. But the Russians dragged their feet. They saw no reason to negotiate with what they considered an inferior nation. They stalled, delayed, and made condescending counteroffers, all while continuing to pour troops and resources into Manchuria. They believed Japan was bluffing, and that time was on their side. They couldn't have been more wrong. For Japan, Russia's intransigence was a clear sign that Moscow intended to control not just Manchuria, but Korea as well. Their diplomatic efforts had failed. Their security was at risk. Pushed into a corner, they decided to act. On the night of February 8, 1904, without a formal declaration of war, Japanese torpedo boats steamed into the harbor of Port Arthur. They launched a surprise attack on the unsuspecting Russian Pacific Fleet, crippling several of their best battleships. The attack was audacious, shocking, and brutally effective. This wasn't just the first shot of the Russo-Japanese War. It was a shot heard around the world. For the first time in modern history, an Asian nation had launched a major military offensive against a European great power. The prevailing idea of European invincibility was about to be shattered. The conflict would test Russia's overconfidence and Japan's newfound strength on the battlefields of Manchuria and the waters of the Tsushima Strait. The causes of the war, a toxic mix of imperial rivalry, failed diplomacy, and profound cultural underestimation, set the stage for a conflict that would not only reshape the balance of power in Asia, but also send shockwaves across the globe, signaling the dawn of a new and uncertain century. Thanks for watching, and if you found this interesting, be sure to like and subscribe for more dives into history.